Attempt 5 billion of trying to record this video. My neighbor whipped out a frame perfect lawnmower right as I started recording, so hopefully this time I'll be fine. I needed something special. I didn't just want to rank every single aberration in the game because it's too easy. Even though I actually did it. You know, that was 3 hours wasted, but without wasting time, you can't make a perfect video. That doesn't make sense. But yeah, I did waste my time. So I decided to not just rank every aberration, but I decided to rank them based on how much I would enjoy them in sushi. I fucking love sushi. I don't know why so many people dislike sushi. If you do dislike sushi, number 1, why did you click on this video? Number 2, fuck you. So let's just get into it. Let's start with you. The grotesque mackerel. Corrupted scales and bulbous eyes like nothing you've ever seen before. It looks relatively basic. I don't really see anything special about it. Bulbous eyes is not really relevant since it's sushi. Corrupted scales. I mean, you don't eat scales in sushi obviously, but that might be a little more concerning. But overall, I think that would just taste fine, honestly. I'm gonna put it in A. You, however, the lumpy mackerel, a writhing mass of lumps twisting and pulling their way under the scales of their vessel. How long can it have lived like this? This looks slightly less appetizing to me. Also, is that a mouth? What is that? It almost looks like it has teeth. I'm slightly confused. I don't think you would taste that great, considering you're full of grease or whatever it is. I'm gonna put you in E, just because I think there's probably things that taste even worse. The many-eyed mackerel. Gill plates dotted with eyeballs, superfluous but scanning frantically, all eyes see right through you. I mean, this is just a regular mackerel, but I mean, it's a blue mackerel. It doesn't look blue, but this has got to just be an S tier, right? You're just something I would actually put on sushi. The all-seeing cod. Very ironic I can't see your picture. Staring outwards, unblinking, eyes borrowed from a larger being but not the mind to process what it sees. I mean, this is also just an S. Like, we've got to be fair here. If something is gonna taste normal, it tastes good, right? Because sushi is just fucking delicious. Deviantly sharp teeth with chunks of smaller fish lodged between are hunger in its eyes. Now, this is the fang cod. This is also just a cod. You know what? I'm gonna put this one down 1. You know, and you... Yeah, I think this is more fair because you actually changed quite a bit. You look relatively normal, and you look even more relatively normal. So I'm gonna put you in A. You're gonna go in S. Okay, this is the way I'm gonna do it. This is like middle of the road. This is something that would probably taste decent. These are the ones that would taste like regular fish. These are the ones that would taste better. Chunks of small fish lodged in between. You get some free samples of other fish. And that's just efficiency in my opinion, so you go in S. Speaking of S, we have the 3-headed cod. I don't even need to read the description, because this is just cod, but more of it. So that's just an S tier. That's such an easy S tier. You just get more sushi. The brood squid. I don't expect this one to do too well. So, considering it's a brood squid, these are probably eggs. Eggs are something that are definitely... I mean, they're definitely used in sushi, right? It doesn't look too appetizing. But I'm gonna put you in C. We gotta be a little open-minded here. You can look at C as like the nothing special, or it depends on what this is kind of tier. Tasting tongues writhe wildly around a set of yellowed crooked teeth. Top row are flattened like human molars. So once again, this just looks like a relatively normal squid. It's definitely a creepy squid, but we don't judge on creepiness, we judge on taste here. I'm gonna put it in B, because I think those teeth would probably add a pretty undesirable crunch. A spine broken with sharp angles and crooked curves, a row of teeth bent on revenge. Oh, they do. I mean, I'm definitely not really surprised, but holy shit, that looks good. Wait, that's such a cool presentation. You know what? I feel like that's an S tier. Or no, an A tier, because it would just taste like normal eel again. Post eel. Numerous glowing shapes flicker and squirm behind a distended ribcage. The rest of the fish is withered and drained. So this one is definitely going in the bottom half because you don't have any eel left. It all depends on what is inside of the eel, which could be good. Here you don't get any eel, so if the things inside taste bad, it's just bad. So that's a D for me. Cyclopean flounder. A sprawling jelly mass spills from a single eye socket. What appears to be a dark pupil is in fact the center of an egg. Now this time we have one big egg. A flounder is about 50 centimeters, half a meter. So this must be a pretty fucking huge egg. So yeah, they do. Is this guy thinking out of his mouth? Or what is this implying here? Anyways, that's I'm gonna put this one in B. It's kind of the same scenario as this one, the brood squid, but now it's definitely an egg. Oh god, the riddled flounder. Baggy skin perforated with countless cavities, a singular shapeless mass spreads underneath. I'm not gonna lie, in my video where I played Dredge, which you can go look at by the way, I said that this looked like a moldy omelette, and I still stand by that. It's also a trypophobia mess. It's literally impossible for this to taste good. That's an easy F. A tusked grouper. Pig-like tusks protrude from the mouth of this ravenous brute. With no eyes to speak of, it attacks indiscriminately. You can make grouper sushi. Well, thank you, Spiro's Kitchen. Other than that, it looks relatively normal, so this is another A for me. So A is definitely gonna be pretty stacked because I don't imagine that many of them are gonna change that much in taste. Some of them definitely will, but if it's just a normal taste, it's A, you know? And it needs to do something special to make it an S. Also, I'm not gonna be consistent at all. These requirements are absolutely gonna change throughout the video and you can do absolutely nothing about it. A Volte grouper. Unknown green energy arcs and crackles over this fish's scales. It thrashes ceaselessly even hours after being pulled from the water. It definitely has some kind of weird necrotic energy going on. I can't imagine necrotic energy tastes that well. The stone skin of this ray is molded around a black crystal shard. The rock fragments articulate and grind together. So this is a pretty easy F tier because it's literally rocks. Now you could argue that salt is a rock, but number one, it's literally mentioned that this is a black crystal, and number two, just eating plain salt without even having a fucking fish, that is like actual torture. So this one I'm gonna put in F. I wouldn't wish this upon my worst enemy, having to eat a literal stingray made of rock. I have a sallow sailfish. A sickly pallid color coats the scales of this normally sleek and shiny fish. Clouded eyes belie the disease spreading underneath. That's pretty important because this one apparently is sick, but it's not rotting, and it's never mentioned that this is actually a disease that we can get. So it really depends on which one it is. So I'm gonna put this one in C as undetermined because if this is not a disease that we can get, it will probably be A because it would just taste normally. If it is a disease we can get, it's probably some kind of weird food poisoning thing and it would be like E. A hooked sailfish. Spindles of bones protrude from discolored muscle. A hooked bill curves inward, a lure for something greater. Really can't determine much from this description, honestly. So, spindles of bone, so these are bones from discolored muscle, so it does have muscle. I'm gonna put this one in B because it would probably taste mostly like normal sailfish, but the discolorment is once again a little bit dangerous. It's like with the grotesque mackerel. Like, you have to be careful with that stuff, and I can't imagine that sailfish is bad on sushi either. The bloodskin shark. Tendons and sinews stretch over the fins of this bloodied predator. Powerful jaws are clad in exposed muscle. So this one is kind of difficult because it doesn't look like it has any scales left. So I wonder if it has more or less muscle than before, and I would probably guess more. I can't imagine it's less, and if it is the same amount, it's just more efficient because you don't have the scales anymore, right? Because all the muscle is already exposed, which is what the sushi is. By the way, if you think fish isn't meat, you are a complete moron and also biologically wrong. And if you think that like bird meat is not meat, what is the word? Is it foul? It might be foul. If you think that's not meat, see last answer. It's literally the same thing. You're wrong. But I'm gonna put this one in S because of that, because it's just a more efficient bronze whaler to cut up. I do not condone eating endangered species, and especially not sharks, because sharks have it very rough already. This is just purely for scientific purposes and because I'm bored. Now we have the cleft mouth shark, which is from a blacktip reef shark. A large body bisected by an enormous grinning maw, teeth stretched down forever into the blackness of its large gullet. So I'm gonna put this one in B. The reasoning is, I think this would still taste fine, but I think it's mostly like replaced with mouth, which you really can't do much with. So you just have less. So I'm gonna put it in B because of that. Okay, so this is where things get very fucking difficult. This Osteostracon, I'm pretty sure is extinct. So we have to determine the taste of a fish that no longer exists based on what it looks like. So the normal variant is this thing. A shell of bone pierced by spurs of something stronger. A horned miter shielding eyeless sockets. For a large part it has literally been pierced, so the meat is not gonna work as well. It's not gonna look as good. Because these ones aren't like huge, they're 60 centimeters, which isn't small, but it's not huge. Considering these are pierced, it's just a lot of meat that has been not just damaged, but also replaced. So this one is definitely in the lower half. I'm gonna put this one in D. I'm sure it tastes fine, but it's just horribly mangled, which is just not what you're looking for. The axial matron. This is the regular one, whatever the fuck that is. Oh, this one is difficult because it looks like it's mostly mouth, but I don't think it's like gonna actually taste that good. It doesn't look like a very edible fish. I'm just gonna put it in C. Now we have an anvilfish, which is from a paddlefish. These things. A head hammered flat against the alluvium of the world. Every shaper needs a surface. Okay, I really can't do much with that. This doesn't look like it would taste that well. It doesn't really look at it like it has anything that could be used for sushi anymore. It looks... I mean, it's an anvilfish. I don't think it's actually an anvil, but it's probably some kind of hardened bone or cartilage here. What family is a paddlefish? Okay, so that means it has bones, not cartilage. And this has to all be bones. There still has to be bones in here. So I think this one is just mostly bones, which is probably not the best. So I'm gonna put it at D. Here we have the ivory impaler, which is from a swordfish. Strips of flinched flesh course around a spike of impossible metal. Underneath the rope tendons, it bears a name unremembered. So I think this is definitely something we need to consider. It has an actual sword, which is incredibly dangerous if you want to eat. And I can imagine catch and prepare as well, because it's just super risky to do anything with this. So therefore I'm gonna put it in E. I don't think sword tastes good either. A cerebral crab. A turquoise mass swells from within this small crab, the growth pulses quickening in the light of the sun. This has got to taste like completely and utterly revolting, right? Considering it starts like pulsating in the sun, it's probably some kind of living thing as well. So that could give it bonus points in terms of being able to eat. But it's never really explicitly mentioned what this could be, so I don't really know if I can really assume it's something edible. It has been neatly cracked open, so it has some good presentation going on there. I can definitely see this being served if this had a little bit of a different color. You can make sharp mint paint out of this. So maybe if it actually tasted like paint, that would be good. I give it a lot to work with here, and therefore I'm gonna put it in B. But that's considering if all of these things are like correct. The malignant pincer. Steel tumors secrete a slimy substance over cracks and joints. Its massive claw shudders as it fights for control. Alright, so this is probably gonna taste like shit. It has literal tumors secreting some kind of disgusting slime. I'm not gonna put it in F because If you look at it this way, and if it has to like fight for control and kind of takes over your body and shit, it's probably useful as some kind of hallucinogenic drug. And I could definitely see a market for that. But for sushi, it's probably not the best. Flesh prolapsed and shed to the seafloor, a mold discarded ready to develop another. So this has gotta taste pretty decent, right? Do people eat sea cucumber? Oh my god, they do. That's insane. Look at the innards. 150, what is that, Canadian dollars? In the same family as like sea urchins and sea stars. Those are pretty easy to find. Well, I guess it's just completely edible then. And it has been turned inside out for some reason. So I'm gonna put it in A. That's probably decent. The gnashing perch. Eyeless and mindless, driven only by the desire to consume, a purpose satiated many times over. I mean, it doesn't look like it's that different. No, this is a regular perch. I mean, it has a bit more mouth, but I mean, it's such a small fish. 20 centimeters. Yeah, that's a very small fish, so you can probably still get quite a bit of value out of this. So it doesn't look impossible. I mean, it has a big mouth, yes, but the head region of a fish is never really used in sushi anyways, for as far as I know. Maybe in some special sushi that I don't really see here. So this is probably just gonna work well. So yeah, I'm gonna put it in A as well. A flayed mackerel. Rendered flesh with muscle and bone exposed. This gory mess of a fish can't have lived like this for long. It looks like it's pretty much rotting all the way. So a rotting fish I can't imagine tastes that good. These are all very experimental, but if it's like actually just a rotting fish, this is definitely F tier. I mean, if you could just sell a rotting fish as sushi, we wouldn't be making this tier list right now. Here you go. I'm just gonna put this one in F. And if it's like maybe rotting, we can put it higher, but if it's like just simply rotting, that's F. Okay, this is the last one I'm gonna do, and I'm gonna wrap it up for the day. And obviously check the audio quality again. With the scouring bass here, shapes swirl inside bulging clouded eyes, blinded by the light of the surface but perfectly suited to searching the depths. So it doesn't really look like there's much like special stuff going on here in terms of flavor. It just looks like a relatively normal bass. I actually had some sea bass relatively recently on sushi and I fucking loved it. That shit goes hard. This is just an easy A tier again. And actually, I'm gonna pump this up to S tier because I'm just so surprised that people eat this and how expensive it is. So yeah, that's it for day 1, I guess, of this ranking. And I will continue tomorrow. But that doesn't matter for you. And I just realized that I forgot to rank the bearded mackerel. So we're gonna do just that. Alright, so the wispy tendrils sprouting from its mouth and flanks continue to writhe along after the fish has stopped flailing. Alright, so this just keeps moving even when it's dead. That's probably a part of the fish that you can't use because I don't know if it's really efficient to eat if it just keeps moving. I already forgot what I was using to rank. These are pretty much the ones where there's not a lot left. These are the ones where there's not a lot left. And the things that are left are disgusting. This is just everything is disgusting. These ones are undetermined. These ones are... So I'm gonna put this one in C. Well, no, I'm gonna put this one in B. I don't think the part that is left is gonna taste bad at all. And now we can keep going with the gelatinous stonefish. Flesh and scales intent on shuffling away from a creature struggling to maintain its mortal form. I'm afraid that this one is gonna absolutely suck ass. This could just be my personal opinion, but damn, what the fuck? Holy shit. This could just be my personal opinion, but gelatinous texture in sushi, I don't know if that works. I mean, there's probably some gelatinous stuff here and there that I can't think about at the moment, but I mean, the fact that it's trying to maintain its mortal form makes me think that that gelatin is not gonna taste that great. I'm gonna put it in F. I mean, that sounds absolutely vile in every way. Enthralled stonefish. A hollowed husk boasting a hostile dweller. The eyes inside begin their search for a safer vessel. So this one is interesting because there's nothing left of the fish itself, but there seems to be some kind of squid or octopus inside. That probably tastes pretty good. So I'm just gonna completely replace what I'm ranking here. I'm not gonna rank the stonefish, I'm gonna rank the squid. It's probably not a squid, that's probably an octopus since the thingies here are all the way. Now I'm gonna put it in A because there is no part of this fish, of the stonefish left. If there was still stonefish left, it would have been S probably. Decaying blackmouth. A shimmering blackness permeates the flesh of this relentless fish. Muscles atrophied and decaying, but still it swims on. So in this description it talks about this being based on zombie salmon. In case you don't know, when a salmon is going to lay eggs, it has to swim upstream, right, to the place it hatched. But not only does it take a lot of effort to swim upstream, it takes a lot of effort to make the switch from saltwater to sweet, or we call it sweet water, but I don't think you guys call it sweet water, to regular river water, right? Usually a fish is only able to live in one of those at a time. It takes so much effort and uses so much energy that it literally starts decaying and rotting alive, basically. Just because that's pretty much what it is, I'm gonna put this one all the way down in F tier. I mean, this is nothing but just a rotting fish. Sprouting eel. An eruption of crystalline growths burst from its skin. Sharp shapes clatter and resonate together. I'm also gonna put this one in F because there is no fish left. It's all crystal. A withered ray. Rotten webbing spans the wings of this large ray. Sinews stretch and snap as it thrashes in futility. So this one is a little more interesting. I'm not gonna put this one in F. This is also a rotting fish, but there's one crucial difference. That is that it doesn't mention if this part is rotting, only that the webbing here is rotting. So it could still have some edible parts. The simple clockwork mechanisms of life laid bare as a tenuous skeletal existence. Not really a lot to work with here. It looks like it still has a little bit left. I guess it kind of depends if this is actual, like, flesh. So therefore I'm gonna put this one in C, because I'm not sure if it can be considered flesh, since it's translucent. But if it is, it's probably edible. We don't have to be too judgmental. I literally said that this could taste like mint. Any kind of logic has been thrown out the window a long time ago. Shattered wreckfish. A cracked husk of scaly plates sliding atop pulsing miscolored flesh. So it does have flesh. It is miscolored, but at least there is some flesh left, which can't be said for most things, so I'm gonna put it in D for that. And honestly, this doesn't look edible, but it also looks like a little exotic, you know? Like, I could see people trying this. A bony wreckfish, encased in bony protrusions and struggling to move its encumbered fins. Its gills are almost sealed shut by the growths. I'm just gonna rank this one the same. This is pretty much the same exact aberration from the same fish. So yeah, I really don't have a lot to say about that. Clutching nautilus. The hand of some forgotten sailor taken refuge from an ancient storm the day at last it comes ashore. This is something that if it still existed, people would absolutely eat. Nautilus. No, a nautilus still exists. It's an ammonite that it doesn't exist. What am I talking about? People definitely eat nautilus, right? Well, in Dave the Diver they do. So this convinces me a little bit more that people would actually eat this. Now, considering it's a hand, we have to talk about the possibility of this being human flesh. Now, in your hand, there's not a lot of like flesh. I mean, there's probably some usable parts. I'm gonna put it in A because either of those options will probably be decent on sushi, even if human meat doesn't necessarily belong there. 5 sensing spears quiver and guide, 2 stalks erupt from the shell, with eyes to see the unseen. A vagrant solacina. This is probably some kind of rock as well. It is specifically mentioned that it is a shell, so there's probably a little bit left, so I'm gonna put it in D. I honestly expected to be ranking more of like based on taste, but most of the time it's like if there's just actual meat left. And it's a lot more of that than I expected. A bifurcated gar. A one strong body now divided, clinging to life through coiled channels of blood and bite. In terms of taste, this would probably be like normal. This part in the middle, I could actually really see as some kind of crazy snobby rich people's delicatessen. That's probably an S. This could definitely work in sushi, and that in the middle would be very expensive sushi. Silvering lancetfish. An outward reflection turning and coiling inward. The thrust of introspection lost to self-obsession. How am I supposed to even rank this? Like, how am I supposed to rank this? What even is part of the fish anymore? This is a tough one. This is a really tough one. This looks mostly like it's not edible, these parts. It's kind of like with this one, but even more difficult to see. Splintered crab. Amber glue holds shattered fragments, a deep dweller cracked from the pressure. Yes, it says amber, but here it says maple. Now, I don't think people would eat maple syrup or maple anything on sushi, but there's got to be some mad fucking Canadian somewhere trying this shit out. For that alone, I'm gonna put it in B, actually. It doesn't actually look that bad, you know? Hardened tree sap, maybe a little bit of honey, but more orange. Vortex decorator. Folds of orange tissue tower from its head. Scything limbs administered the structure. Okay, this one is an S. This is like crazy presentation in some kind of fancy sushi restaurant. I could absolutely see this being like just served like this. Easy S tier. Cystic trilobite. An ancient infection carried through time, impatient in dormancy, it rises from the rocks. This does not look as edible. These tails though, these could maybe work? I'm kind of surprised why it has so many tails, but I'll put you in D because only the tails could maybe be edible, and then still it highly depends. Parhelion jellyfish. 2 spires of light shine from within its hood. Stinging spiked tentacles trail below. So I actually know pretty well detailed what a jellyfish looks like, and I really can't even begin to like understand if this could be eaten as sushi. So I'm gonna look it up. How do you manage this? Is my Wi-Fi gone? For the love of fuck, don't tell me. Oh my god, it's absolutely gone. I'm gonna fucking kill something. There's not a lot in this world that makes me as mad as Wi-Fi not working. I'm not like fully dependent on Wi-Fi like some people are, but god damn, I fucking hate it when it doesn't work, man. So I guess it's gonna be a gameplay video now. You know, really need to work on my anger. What the fuck? Okay, but if shit like that happens, like I said, I really need to work on my anger. It has gotten so bad that I genuinely have been mad in my dreams, like pretty often lately. And I don't mean like just being pissed off, like inexplicable rage. I don't even know why, I don't remember why, I just remember the feeling of being extremely mad at something, which is alarmingly common lately. I hate it when it switches to nighttime and then back because you were like blinded for a couple seconds. Oh, okay, we're back. Alright, so how do you even make this look like that? I mean, that's crazy. That's like very impressive. This could probably be some high quality jellyfish then. Cursed Fangtooth. A small and feeble mind, easily conquered now, brought screaming from the depths it lies powerless. I don't know, it looks pretty basic to me. Not that interesting in terms of taste at least. So I'm gonna rank it as such, just a B tier. Well, no, I'm gonna put it A because it probably tastes pretty normal. This one is interesting, Void Eye. Inside its eye, perpetual pattern repeats. Red cyclones melt through shimmering green swirls. The abyss burns through you. What would the abyss taste like? What if I ask ChatGPT? Deep, cold and bitter like an oceanic abyss where the coldness seeps into your bones. That's not a taste. You could also imagine it having an earthy, metallic taste. What the fuck? The abyss is like the opposite of earth. An acidic sharpness that makes you feel like you're tasting the void itself. Might also carry notes of salt, darkness, and something ancient. Salt and darkness, you know, the two most important flavors. And something ancient. Why did I even try? Pick one food that would resemble the abyss in taste. Oh, it really needs to think about this one. Holy shit, man, get on with it. Black squid ink pasta. That's pretty close, you know? That's pretty close to sushi. Actually, I'm happy with that. Thank you, ChatGPT, for convincing me that a void eye would indeed taste pretty well. I'm gonna put this one in S because of that. ChatGPT convinced me this would probably taste very interesting, and because it burns through you, it has a little bit of spice, and maybe that adds. Speaking of squid, radiant squid, a beacon from the depths below, a glimpse of a new sky. I don't see a reason this would not taste well. I don't see a reason this would taste better than a normal squid either. Just kind of like a disco squid. So you go in a blood snapper. Blood leaks endlessly from under its scales, pooling beneath it no matter where it's placed. Your sushi is gonna be absolutely drenched in blood. And also, if you eat it, it's probably gonna kill you because it's gonna fill up your stomach with and your entire intestines and shit full with blood. So for that, I'm gonna rank it pretty low. This just seems like an incredible risk to your health. In terms of taste, I can't imagine it being bad, but you're not gonna survive it either. Okay, man, because the taste would be decent, I'm gonna put it in E, but you're not gonna make it if you eat this. A latching snapper. Swollen flesh folds back over its eyes. Cracked lips bleed through mounted scar tissue. You can eat sushi, which is delicious, and also get a kiss because you don't have a girlfriend. This would have a crazy fucking market for it. I can guarantee you that. So it's going in S tier. Willing host or sacrificial receptacle. This looks like it would taste pretty decent. I don't know what it would taste like. It kind of looks like the same with the crab, only this time it's pretty much guaranteed that it's edible. I'm gonna put it in the same rank as the crab. Perished loose jaw. A few ragged scraps of skin hang like cobwebs from its fins. Its exposed muscles are riddled with small white worms. In terms of sushi taste, this would probably not be decent, but in terms of like regular taste or other meals, like other dishes, people actually eat rotting flesh with like maggots in it and shit. Those people are probably not gonna live for very long. I don't even know why I'm considering the possibility. I'm gonna put it in F. This sounds absolutely like vile. Calcified snailfish waiting in dormancy for its moment to arrive. So it's just nothing, it's just calcified fully. So that's an F because you can't even eat it. Seizing snailfish. Fingers of flesh hold teeth on their tips. A grasping grip that feels through the dark depths. I don't think this would taste like special at all. Maybe the fingers would be an interesting presentation of your dish. But other than that, I don't really see a lot of potential in this one. So I'm just gonna put it in B. Consumed grouper, once dazzling skin now bleached and eroded, it barely resists, relieved at a final end. Yeah, this looks absolutely sickening. I don't even know what has to happen to a coral grouper to make it look like that. And I quite frankly don't want to know. And I also don't know what has to happen to a grouper or any animal at all to make it just simply relieved that it is going to die. That's pretty horrible for nature. I can already tell you what this is gonna taste like. Normal. Nothing special, but just normal. Doesn't mean it's bad though, so I'm gonna put it in A. Bursting anglerfish. The deep faces its own consequences of creation. In the darkness, brutality becomes the ultimate filter. I fucking love this description. In terms of taste, it would be pretty normal. So I'm just gonna rank it pretty normal again. Savage Barracuda. It thrashes about ruinously, jaw snapping and tearing its own flesh apart, a body surrendered by ravenous hatred. Honestly, hear me out here. This is an S tier because you have your Barracuda sushi, but it cuts itself up for you. Also, this blood looks suspiciously edible, so maybe this one is just an S tier. Things are starting to fill up slowly, Most of them are ranked a lot higher than I thought they would. They're definitely somewhere I went into straight fanfiction territory to rank them high, but I mean, if you expected a serious ranking here, I don't even know what to tell you. Concertina Barracuda. Its body extends, then collapses together with each gasping breath. Nature dissected into mechanical motion. This would be even more efficient than the last Barracuda if it was an actual fish. This is a robot. I'm gonna put it in E for the small possibility, but I'm gonna put it in C because there's a small possibility that this is an actual like fish and not just a robot. It looks like a robot, but if it isn't, it's probably a lot higher. Maybe even on the same level as the regular the savage Barracuda. But it's never mentioned if it is, so it's kind of left up to your own interpretation. Huge bulbous eyes move about on large fleshy stalks, siphoning energy from its body. Its search is not over. People would absolutely pay for these eyes. Maybe not on sushi though. Other than that, it's just a regular shark. Once again, I do not condone eating shark. Okay, Xeno. Horns of bone caress green-veined spheres. Vestigial fins and a shriveled tail are all that remain of the progenitor. That last word, whatever it says. I don't know if this would work on sushi. It is like gross green bloated meat. So I'm gonna put it in E because I don't know, it just looks like snot balls or something. Stalking spiderfish. A simple mouth caps the end of a crumpled tubular body. Hand-like fins are ratchet tense, waiting to strike. I mean, this is just a whole lot of nothing because there's barely any fish here. Most of it is just fin. So I'm gonna put it in B tier because, you know, it's just not very special. Drifting chrysalis. A testing tendril at the water flicks at the water around it. Tasting, analyzing, the walls of the chrysalis begin to weaken. So this is implying, I think, that there is something inside of this. So this is like just a surprise, you know? It's like one of those kid toys inside of your food, except it's food inside of your toy now. So I think I'm gonna put this one in S tier. It's, you know, to keep the children entertained. Tanguin shark. Muscles stretch into ribboned wings soaring over the dark domain. Sacs of fluid grow then fall seeking a new host. I don't know if these things would taste good, but if they do, this is like crazy efficient because you could just harvest these and they would keep appearing. I'm gonna put it in B though, because it's a really good idea, but it doesn't look like it tastes anything like remotely edible. Even if it doesn't taste well, you can probably convince some rich people that this is like very high quality food and they would pay a lot for it. So there is a market for sure. Crown of Nadir. A fractal gateway reaching beyond the abyss. From its maw whispers I call from below. I'm kind of struggling with this one. What does starfish sushi look like? Honestly, it doesn't really matter because if it is the inside part, that's gone. If it is the arms, it's mostly gone. You do have these tiny nubs though. Maybe they could eat those. I'm gonna put this one in C. It's pretty difficult to see what part of this could even be used at all. Entangled crab. Glistening purple strings sprout from solid rock. Tying and untying themselves, they fall away and wither, making way for new knots. You know, this one would have probably been high, like with the shark here. But considering they just wither, makes it difficult for me to rank it high because that just leaves the stone, you know? So I'm gonna put it pretty low because there doesn't seem to be any edible parts left. So I'm gonna put it in E just in case there is a part of the crab that still exists. Imperious lobster. Iridescent purple feelers recoil from the dry air. Sacs of violet fluid embedded in its carapax begin to drain. So the carapax, for those who don't know. Okay, I'm gonna try and explain it as well as I can in English. An arthropod consists of three parts of their body. And in this case, with a lobster, the two front parts are not molded, but they're like used. And that's called a cephalothorax. And on this cephalothorax, they have like big like shell there. That shell is called the carapax. Does that make sense? If I could explain this in Dutch, it would be infinitely more clear. You know, there's still a lot left here that could be used, and it's already in like a long tentacle-like form. I don't know, I can definitely see this one work in sushi. I'm gonna put it in A. Mimic slug. Foolish morsels of the deep make mistakes they will not live to regret. What am I supposed to even rank here? I'm gonna put it in C because I really don't know how to interpret this. Well, no, I'm gonna put it lower actually. I'm gonna put it in F because I don't think slugs, even when it's sea slugs, that is something people would eat on sushi. Let's look it up. I don't think people actually eat sea slugs in sushi. The entwined mullet. Twisting, twitching tendrils sprout from the gill plates of this little fish. They heave in unison, moving the fish against its will. And this one would probably be fine. I don't really see anything special about this one in particular. It's honestly the exact same thing as this one. It would just be fine. Gleaming mullet. Scales swollen into large clustered pustules. A golden liquid shimmers from within. So I don't know what it is about this one, but just this golden liquid sounds more disgusting than either of these two. So just for that, I'm gonna put it in D. Maybe it's because these ones look very similar. Blistered tarpon. Scales given way to bubbling flesh. A surface dweller singled out and cleansed by the sun. Yeah, this one is definitely overcooked, which should never be something that happens in sushi. Now that's just a cardinal sin, so I'm gonna put it in E. Vortex interloper. A slow swirl twists its body, stretching it towards an unseen dimension. I would not like for my sushi to disappear in some kind of a wormhole portal, like the most insanely elaborate scam ever. So for me, it depends on if they actually disappear. I'm gonna put it in C, because if this actually disappears in a portal, that would be like the wildest thing to ever grace sushi. Clawfin gar. Crooked talons hang from its fins. Periodically, they shudder and come together, grasping like a hand. My voice is really struggling today. Do they eat gar sushi? Okay, so they do? That's not a gar though. So I'm gonna assume that they do eat gar in sushi. So I'm just gonna put it in A. Grinning gar. Muscular grums grow and force cracking teeth against each other. Softer flesh tears from the strain. I mean, this is just pretty much the exact same, I guess. Can't really say much about this. Twinned eels. Endlessly pulling away, but torn apart they would surely perish. Two spiteful siblings, splitting at the seams. So this one is a little less efficient, because its tail, which I assume could normally be used, is now another head. So that means this part and this part need to be cut off, so you have just a less eel overall. There it is, so I'm gonna put it one lower. Nightwing catfish. Hooked barbels seek out prey in the twisting mangroves. A once sluggish fish given haste upon crimson fins. There's absolutely no way that people don't eat catfish sushi. That would probably be the most shocking thing to ever happen to this world. So I'm gonna put it in A. Crawling instar. Folds of flesh contract in rhythmic waves, roving ceaselessly towards its target. It looks awfully crustacean-like. I'm gonna put this one in A as well, because I'm just kind of confused as to what this is, so I'm not gonna put it in the same level as sea cucumber. But this would definitely be eaten, and it probably has more flesh than you can get from an actual opabinia. Boreal shell. A cold wind blows through a skeletal frame, condensed into the light of a ghostly aurora. Absolutely amazing looking aberration, but it has no flesh. Like, it's just all gone. And aurora, I'm not sure if that's something you can eat. What would an aurora even taste like? Yeah, this one is just a whole lot of nothing, so I'm gonna put it in F. Broken arapaima. Scales plucked from skin turned leather. Eyes paled from the agony of knotted muscles. Bones unset and set untrue. Skin turned leather is not gonna change much. Knotted mussels. If your mussels are knotted, it's probably not very good for sushi, right? The taste would still be decent, I assume, but in terms of like presentation, it's gonna look like fuck, so I'm gonna put it in D. Primordial Shadow. Whispering purple plates orbit and lock around a shadowy core. Shapes of darkness fill the spaces between. So what would this darkness taste like? Can I assume it's the same like with the Void Eye? Only this time it's only that. I'm gonna put it in B. This one has an extra, but still regular fish, while this one like only depends on this in between, and if that doesn't taste good, it's all over. This is definitely one of my favorite designs, the effigy crab. Wisps of yellow light flicker within this ghastly shell, a screaming skull with a spinal tail. What the fuck would this taste like? Maybe some kind of like water ice, lemon flavor or something? That would probably be decent, but not for sushi. I'm gonna put it in C. This just seems kind of mid in terms of sushi taste. Myers Creature. A lashing yellow tongue whips around a mouth of flattened teeth. Two human-like eyeballs burst between dripping claws. So obviously you're only gonna use the legs here. Even if you wanted to use something else, there is literally a mouth. This looks kind of like something that could be used, but it's just a slightly less edible looking shade of yellow. It has some kind of greenish in it that makes it look extremely unappetizing, or at least less appetizing than a different shade of yellow. I'm gonna put this one in the same tier as the other crab, but this would be high B, this would be lower B. Wretched Nipper. Blunt teeth and a forked tongue test the flanks of passing creatures. A single loosened scale is enough. What does the Nipponites look like? This looks way more edible than this. This looks kind of stone-like. It's never mentioned that it is stone, but it just looks so stone-like. I'm gonna assume it's not stone, so I'm gonna put it at one higher. Ossified Sea Robin. Chittering mandibles scythe the air in front of this deep dweller. Its small body encased in a suit of thick bone. So it has a small body, so there's definitely less meat in it. Compared to a regular sea robin, yeah, there's definitely less. It looks fucking awesome though, but that's not what matters here. I'm gonna put you in B, because it would taste fine, there's just less of it. I feel like I'm repeating myself a lot now. Grown fat from countless corpses that rest in the deep. The harbinger of a sick mercy for lost souls. I'm gonna put this one in S, because you don't even need to feed it much. It is already fully fed, and so you have a huge fucking fish that you can turn in sushi, so that would just be extremely efficient. Serpentine Mackerel. It lashes out with its fangs and tail, a hissing rises from its mouth and then from the water around you. I'm also gonna put this one in S. Back-to-back S, I don't know if that has actually happened in this video so far. The reasoning is because it literally summons such a huge fucking group that you can just have a massive harvest and turn it all in sushi. So even if it is well, actually it's a pretty big fish as well, so this is crazy profit. Tattered Mackerel. A tangle of ribbons stream behind this fish, its form converging around a shadowy head. A strip slides away, retreating to the depths. So this one is definitely the lower half, because you do get these parts that get created, but they look more like aluminum foil than actual food. So for that I'm gonna put it in E. It's also the only part of the fish that's actually left. Defaced Skate. Bones replace cartilage and erupt through soft skin. A frightened new form begins to emerge. Yeah, there are just no usable parts here. Apparently, spinal fluid is something that people eat. I mean, do I even have to say anything about that? Like, what the fuck? So I'm not even gonna count that as something you could possibly eat. So I'm just gonna rank it low. F. Feels right. Wrapped Shark. A grinning maw turned upwards to the sky, wing-like fins ready to take flight. So this is actually one of my favorite aberrations. I didn't catch this one, but as soon as I saw it, I knew this was fucking awesome. But in terms of sushi, it just feels alright. It's not gonna do anything special, so that's just an A. Twisted Shark. Three tails that twist and turn. Three unite behind the head. Thrice the body that must be fed. Look, it even says itself that it is 3 times as much. I mean, this is a 2-meter fish. That's like the size of a door. You, sir, are an S tier. Unveiled Vetulicolia. Beak cracked and lips peeled back to reveal an array of misshapen molars. Tensed under muscular gums. What does a regular one look like? That's about the last thing I expected. I think neither of these are really usable for sushi. This one is definitely more usable though, so I'm just gonna put it in B. Plated barb jaw. A devoted hunter sheathed in iridescence. Once the barbs lodge, there will be no turning back. Like, you can't eat any of this. It's probably something that you can use for like presentation maybe, or maybe make some kind of cutlery out of it, some kind of tool. Considering you eat sushi with chopsticks, this is not gonna come in handy in any way. Maybe in the preparing of the food, but I mean, that's stretching it so far. Untouchable wormfish. An implausible cryptid of the dark depths. It crawls the silt and marine snow, gulping down detritus of the sky. I need to know what the real one looks like. Oh wow, that's not what I expected. I mean, it would probably be decent, right? Another A tier. Excoriated fiend. Or half of it. Ascension to the apex comes at a cost, paid in skin and scale. This is a Dunkleosteus, which are massive. Oh yeah, I can see the side. Yeah, they are fucking massive. So this and the skin, the scales are already removed. So I'm gonna put this one in S tier. You can feed an entire family with this for fucking weeks. Grasping snail. Bony fingers extend through a membrane of mucus, feeling for a target. The frantic eye locks with yours. Not really sushi usable, but it wouldn't taste bad. Sable Reacher. Wings of muscle spin webs between inky black legs. A gloomy core grows in the deep. I mean, you can just use this. There's nothing special. It's a pretty big thing, right? 60 centimeters, that's pretty big, yeah. And I think the next one is, yeah, the umbral puppet. Long limbs hang idly from a body mounted with blackened spheres. It waits for the call of the void. So I'm gonna rank this one the same. It feels like they almost have the same aberration, although I would rank this one A and this one S because it looks cooler. It kind of reminds me of a Dungeons and Dragons creature. It's like a spider with also like web-like things between its legs. Erupting scorpion. Legs shuddering as though it were still scuttling on some imagined seabed. The oozing blackness has overcome its chitin prison. E. About the same reasoning as the malignant pincer, I think it was called. The anchovy king. And in their numbers they will rise. So I think anyone who knew this was an aberration knew that this was going to be S tier. For the exact same reason as this one, and this one, and this one. You know the drill. Leeching prawn. This tiny parasite rasps away the flesh of whatever it attaches to. Its hooked legs ensure an enduring grip. Yeah, I'm gonna rank this one A because it's just a prawn. A big prawn. Razor mouth tuna. Half teeth, half muscle, this fish's sole purpose is the pursuit of its unfortunate prey. This one line really hurts its chances because a regular tuna definitely isn't half teeth, so you get half the fish. So I'm gonna put it in C. That feels fair because half of it is this, not usable, the other half is this, usable. And tuna is very good on sushi. Decrepit viperfish. Gnashing teeth are the only hint that this withered body still holds life. An urge to bite that persists in perpetuity. My bad. What does a regular one look like? Not really that usable either. So yeah, this one is definitely lower half. I'm just gonna put it in D because it looks like it still has some left. Collapsed viperfish. A rejection of the light or a return to the ways of the deep. So does it like vomit all this out? I'm gonna put this one in C because I don't know what all this even is. I don't know what is what. It's kind of a difficult design to interpret. It looks awesome. I'll give it that. Skeletal moonfish. Do I even need to say anything? Impossibly devoid of organs. I mean, this one is just nothing. I mean, this one is literally just nothing. Beaked moonfish. A rocky body that bears the scars and scratches of things from below. A crushing beak, a tool of its own deep terror. This I'm gonna rank the exact same. Congealed rat tail. The flesh of this deep dweller has turned into a thick ooze, secreting an oily gel that covers its entire body. It literally says that this flesh it has no flesh. It's all gone, so that's another F. Charred sunfish. Scales chipped and flaking, its crackling body is hot to the touch. I assume that all of this is just burned. I can assume that the inside is also burned. So I'm gonna put it in E in case there's just something usable, like at all. But it probably isn't. Glaring sunfish. Ocular tongues watch from socketed mouths. Each offer its own form of deep pity. So here it is, once again, the story of parts being, like usable parts being replaced, which this list has really just come down to. I'm definitely just repeating myself, which looking back is kind of unfortunate because I really thought that this was gonna be more than that, but apparently I thought wrong because most of it is, most of it's just like, it's an accomplishment if there is anything of the fish left. And if there is, then I can do something creative with it sometimes, like with these ones. Fractaline icefish. Crystals of ice pierce through its body, distorting scales, teeth, and fins. Once again, there is no fish left. I'm gonna put this one in E because maybe there is a taste in there somewhere. Globs of flesh drip from this fish. Its departure from the icy waters causing an instant irreversible reaction. Okay, so I'm gonna put this one in F then, and this one in E, because there's actual flesh. Astral icefish. This is easily one of my favorite aberrations. Constellations of light dance through its body, stitching fin to flesh and spine to bone. This one is difficult to rank because it doesn't look like it has any flesh left, but it specifically mentions it. So I'm gonna put it in A because it would probably taste really interesting. I'm honestly even surprised that there is flesh. Bubbling char. Seared flesh forms the mantle of an incandescent core. Water boils into the air around it. This is just not something you can eat. Even if there is parts left, you are just going to melt your entire mouth together and then you will die of starvation. So you don't even get to enjoy this. And for that, I'm gonna put it in F. Hinged wolffish. Teeth interlock through flesh to create a brutish trap. Countless yet will meet their doom in the deep. It definitely has more mouth than a normal one, which is also pierced. So half of it is already gone. So I'm gonna go and use the same logic as with the tuna. Craterous seer. A bright eye spins inside an impacted socket. An answer from above. It looks relatively normal. I'm gonna put it in A again. A is about to have a 6th layer, which I definitely did not expect when I started making this. It doesn't look like most of these are really like edible, but then you look at it and you're like, these are just the same fish but with a different color. Some of them are definitely stretching it a little bit. I'm kind of surprised with how this list is going in almost every way. This was entirely experimental. I didn't think about where I would rank anything in advance, but it's interesting. A bipedal body burgeons with primitive limbs, preparing for an ascent. It says lizardfish, but these are clearly amphibian legs. Although they do have toenails for some reason. This one is difficult. Frog legs is something that people definitely eat, but it doesn't look like something that would be on sushi or just the Japanese would really enjoy in general. Maybe I'm misjudging the Japanese and just the power of Asia. I'm gonna put it in A, but I don't really know that well. Bulbous toothfish. The vessels feed a distended filou. Holy fucking shit, man. Can I talk? Can I just try to say anything? Vessels feed a distended, fluid-filled body. A shadow stirs inside. One way to see it is less flesh. Another way to see it is more flesh? Not flesh, but just more things to eat. It doesn't look appetizing at all though. So I'm gonna put it in D. Grizzly shark. Errant teeth push from through failing skin. Damn, why did I have so much trouble with that? A single mouth is not enough. It's kind of the same like these. It's just that the flesh is like almost destroyed. Pale grasper, hands of ice reach upwards. A sharp hoarfrost blooming across whatever they touch. It clearly has some kind of meat left, but I mean, if it touches you, you get frozen. So for that, I'm gonna have to put it D because I can't imagine it tastes bad, but you're not gonna make it. Actually, I'm gonna put it E because it's the same reason as this one. The only reason I put this one lower is because it's more painful. Alright, this one I was dreading. Fallen stars. An assembly of asteroids conjoined in the dark, finger-like roots stretched down through the substrate. I mean, what even is this design? This might be my least favorite design of an aberration because I don't know what is what. What even? Like what? If you look at it the other way, you don't know in advance what you're gonna eat, so it's like a little sushi loot box. So for that, I'm gonna go against all my principles and rank this one in S. Just because I feel like it. King's Wreath. A clockwork crown of claws, a cycle of succession in the deep. I'm gonna put this one in D, E. I feel like that's a pretty easy one because, I mean, this looks all stone, but just in case there is just a little bit, I'm gonna put it in E. The Archon's Burden. A regal serpent crowned in bone, the inheritance of eternity appointed at last. Difficult. I know for a fact that oarfish are very low, like deep living fish, but I also know that unlike most fish that live very deep, this one actually like holds its form relatively well when it goes up. Most of them just turn into like slop because the pressure difference. So I feel like this one is actually like pretty crazy, and there is like an insane amount as well, 8 meters of fish. I'm gonna put that in S. Famine's End. Devourer in the deep, unfurler of maws, engulfer of the lost. This is easily one of the coolest designs of anything ever. It's relatively long. I'm gonna put this one in A in terms of taste because it is mostly mouth, but that tail is definitely usable. Brute's Crux. Demonic spirit of the swamp. Horns grow, twisting, bracing, a skull to shatter any barrier. That's just another A. A lot of fish to eat and not really anything particularly dangerous about it. Shaper's Prime. The antediluvian ideal. A form defended by the armor of eons. This one doesn't look edible at all. This looks like a fucking cyborg. So I'm gonna put it in F. And then we have just one more left, the Sleeper's Torment. A nightmare seeker, a death dreamer in a waking abyss. This one I'm also just gonna put in A because of the same reason as these. And that is that. Definitely not how I expected this list to go. Now, ranking these like this definitely made me realize that there is less variety in the designs than I thought there was. But I wouldn't say that there is a single bad design in this. Personally dislike the Fallen Stars, but I mean, they're not bad, you know, they look decent, but they're just, I don't really get them. But yeah, that's a very interesting experiment that I didn't think would go this way, but I'm glad I did it. So yeah, that is that. Bye, I guess. Or wait, which one of these would I like the most? So I'm gonna immediately look in this one. Honestly, I'm kind of curious what this one would taste like, but I'm more curious about the Void Eye because what would the Abyss taste like? And not counting the ones that are like pretty clearly just regular fish, the one that I would like to, that actually looks the most edible of these is probably the Decorator Crab somehow. Which one would I like eating the least? In terms of pain and suffering, definitely this one. In terms of taste, it's between the Riddled Flounder and the, what was it, like gelatinous Stonefish. There's just something about this Stonefish that I can't let go, because just gelatin, but it's a rotting fish. That is absolutely vomit inducing. Alright, now I'm done. Bye.